Hey guys, back with another painting tutorial, this time French-Canadian Militia. As you can see, they're already primed and zenithal highlighted, so you will need to prime them. I primed them with a matte black, and then I zenithal highlighted with my airbrush, but you could use any type of spray paint if you don't have an airbrush. And I used bold titanium white doing the airbrush from Pro-Girl. The first paint that we're going to block in is going to be the Army Painter Pallid Bone. This is going to be sort of the gaiters on his legs there. These models, they are in STL. I will have the link of the maker in the description. That way you guys can utilize that if you have access to a 3D printer. I didn't pause the video, but that was Army Painter Magic Blue, and I went ahead and painted his pants. And now I'm going to be painting his hat. Honestly, you can paint the hat. You don't have to paint it blue. You can paint it red, green. You can do blue and white. You can do red and white. Really, whatever color you want to do. The nice thing about this army, there's a lot of variation because they're militia. All right, that's blocked in. Next color we're going to go to is Army Painter Pallid Bone. Again, I forgot his powder horn, so don't forget that. Alright, now we're going to go to Army Painter Holy White, and this is going to be the jacket. The group that I'm painting, they have similar jackets with the buttons and all that stuff, so I was going to paint them all this white color for their jacket, and my other guys are going to be like a mix of leathers and reds and greens and whatnot. But as you can see, I'm trying to stay within the lines as best I can. When you're using these contrast paints or speed paints, you really want to try to paint within the lines well. Alright, next color we're going to go to Army Painter Blood Red. Trying to get the camera to focus, I apologize. And I'm going to paint the ties. So essentially these are keeping those gaiters on. And it's just a cool accent piece. You don't have to paint these, obviously you could paint them leather because they would tie them with leather too and different things, but this does give each model its own little characteristic, which I think is really fun with this army. So you can mix it up. You can do reds, green or blues, greens, have some fun with it. Alright, one of my favorite colors from the speed paint line is the Hardened Leather from Army Painter, and you got it. We're going to be painting some leather bits. Also, I like this color for wood, so I'm going to use it for their the actual stocks of the rifles. And it makes a really nice sort of base color coat. Again, I apologize for the camera angle. It's picking up the front of my hand, and I try to pick it up or catch it while I'm painting, but sometimes it focuses on painting and not so much the camera. So yeah, this does take a little bit of time. Again, try to paint the best you can, and especially with these darker pigment colors within the lines, just because it's really hard to go back over it with an Army Painter speed paint. You might have to use an actual base color paint. And you can see I'm doing the whole lot there. Next color is going to be another brown. It's going to be dark wood, and this is going to be another leather. So if the individual is carrying more pouches or another bag, just to have some variation between leather bits, using the dark wood. Again, this is a pretty dark color, so do the best you can to stay within the lines. This is their slap chop technique. Paint by numbers is what I call it. That's essentially the easiest way to explain that. Alright, now we're going to move to a base color. It's going to be Pro-Curl Tan Flesh, and we're going to hit all the fleshy bits, so his hands, his face. Goes pretty quick. This is a base color, so again, it will cover the contrast paints pretty easy, so just be mindful of that. Alright, now Grim Black. We're going to hit his boots. Some of these guys, they have like moccasins on, so I painted the moccasins Hardened Leather instead of the black, again just to have variation between model to model. And then we're going to hit all the metal bits on the rifle and his little hatchet that he's carrying in his waist. Goes pretty quick. You don't have to be perfect with this because we're gonna the better you can do initially means you don't have to really go through and highlight as much as what the zenithal highlight does for slap chop. But I'm going to go in after we sort of get all the base colors down and do some edge highlighting. Alright, now we're going to use just a cheap apple barrel burnt umber for the base. If you haven't seen my basing video, I will put a link in the description. It's not a Blood and Plunder video, it's a Star Wars Legion. I'm basing them the same way that I did them. Alright, now we're going to go to a Pro Curl Brown Wash. Before you do this, you want to make sure that you protect your models, because the speed paints will sort of reactivate with a little bit of moisture. So go in and I just hit them real quick with a matte varnish, and that way your colors aren't mixing in there. Alright, now we're going to start the edge highlighting. So if you're happy with how the model looks now, you can end the video and finish your basing, because it does look, it's tabletop ready for sure. But we're going to go back in and do some edge highlighting. This time we're going to use base colors, mostly the Pro Curl line. This is going to be the golden brown. Hitting all the Pallid bone color, and it looks really good. It has a really nice pop on it. And again, these guys are sort of, I want to make them weathered looking. You know, they're fur trappers out there in the frontier, so they shouldn't be the most cleanest looking individuals. Alright, advanced flesh tone. This is a nice sort of tan brown. That's a really good color for the Hardened Leather to do edge highlighting with. It's coming along. And again, you could really play the model as it is, and I just want to keep going with it. So Pro Curl Dark Ivory. This is really good for this that holy white, because holy white, it sort of tints the white a little bit of a gray tone, and then after the wash it goes a little bit more brown. So this ivory sort of pulls it in. It's not as bright as a pure white, but it does look pretty good when it's done. Alright, bold Pyrott red from Pro Curl. Now we're going to be edge highlighting all the little tie off flat banners, his belt. Pretty quick. This goes really fast, so I think it's worth the effort to make your models just look a little bit more poppy on the table. Now we're going to use Pro Curl Sky Blue for any of the blue accents. Mostly his hat, really. That's going to be where all the edge highlighting is going to happen. Alright. And you can see I'm doing the whole lot together. Now we're going to go ahead and shade the skin tone. We're going to use Crusader Skin from the Speed Paint line of Army Painter. This is a really good technique with that base coat tan flush. It really is a good combination. It's sort of my go-to for any skin tone anymore. Alright, now we're going to hit all the metallics. So we're going to get in using the Greedy Gold from Army Painter. It's a good brass gold color. It seems to be my go-to gold / brass color with Blood and Pigment so far. So got most of the rifle bits. Again, this is your interpretation. They could be steel if you wanted to, but I have a few muskets and stuff in my own collection, and they have a lot of like brass accents. So I just want to try to emphasize that. Again, just gives it a little bit more pop. All right, last color was that Speed Painter as an air paint, gunmetal. All right, this is the finished model with the basing. It looks really good with some tufts on there, a little bit of dry brushing, clean up the brim of the model, and there he is in all his glory, ready to take on the frontier. And then this is a lot of them. They look really good. As you can see, I have quite a bit of variation between person to person. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll keep the content coming. Thanks.